to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, and we will probably not break out into a song.
You hope.
You really do. I am Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
I do. Yes, I have them. Yeah, so how are you?
It's
been a minute, since we had a show.
We've been on hiatus for about 3 weeks, so we are back, and we're glad you're with us. So thank you for joining us.
Whomever's with us. Is somebody with us already? Okay, good.
We have 2 whole viewers, so thank you for tuning
Thank you,
us.
viewers, for tuning in.
So, and of course, don't forget that you can participate. Type in the comments. We can see them. We can mock them, and we can talk to you.
Sure, but
like you do.
Yeah, you know.
So, without taking up too much of the show, what have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. Oh, so have I had a show since the other restaurant opened?
Yes.
I have? Okay.
Yes.
So that's been a lot of my life dealing with that. And then, this week's been busy as heck. We went to a musical.
Yes.
Last week.
The inspiration for this episode theme.
Yeah. And then I went to the aquarium in Atlanta yesterday. So, I've been busy as heck. I've been running around doing crazy stuff, Saw the old whale sharks. It occurred to me. I was like, how did they get those whale sharks to Atlanta?
Very carefully.
Do they come on a truck or?
Yeah, they would have to, right?
A truck? Like, how does a thing breathe on a truck?
Well, it would have to be in water.
I understand it's like a tank, but still, like, those are big sharks, right?
Yeah, there's if anybody knows how one transports giant marine animals.
Because Atlanta is, Georgia's a coastal state, but Atlanta is not on the coast.
No, not at all.
And I'm like, it's a good couple hours. I don't know. Like, anyway, I was just thinking about it today. Like, that's crazy that they've got this.
Look, he wasn't kidding. They put a current in the travel tank.
Oh, there's a current. Oh, that's what I was trying to figure out was how they breathe. Like,
Right.
Okay, so they just like stir the water. So
because it's not like, I know, like if you have like a whale or a dolphin, you just have to keep them wet. But they breathe oxygen. Them wet.
Yeah.
So they're
okay.
You just keep them wet. So
but a shark needs like a
right.
A current. Yeah, they usually just move all the time, or when they don't move, it's my understanding they go find like a place, like a channel or something where there's a current that blows past them all night, and that's when they sleep or whatever the hell,
Right. Well, that is good information.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I was like, that'd be a damn thing to see going down the highway.
I bet. Yes, I bet. Absolutely. Yeah, and they're down to 1 though, didn't they?
No, they have 2. They still have 2.
I thought they lost 1.
They must have got another one. I don't know what to tell you. One of the ones that's in there right now has something, looks like it got hit by a boat or something. Like it's got a little something, some kind of fuck up near its tail.
Oh.
It still swims fine.
Sure.
But yeah, they got 2 now. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think they might be the kind of thing where if there was only one, like that one would probably croak too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like swans. Swans don't like to be alone.
Honest to God, like donkeys and goats don't like to be alone either.
Yeah. Horses too. They're herd animals.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things like that. Like you'll find and this is a thing actually. When I got, I've had goats a handful of times, and the second time I bought goats. I actually asked when I was buying the goats, this goat doesn't have a friend, does it? Because if it does, I'm buying the friend too. Because I'm not having like I'm not going to get it home and then have it like whine all the time.
You're not going to have a depressed goat.
I don't want a depressed goat because it misses its friend. I'm like, so if it's got friends, tell me about them now, and I'll purchase them.
Yeah,
because I'm not having this crap.
It's to your benefit to tell me if they have a friend, because I will buy that friend. I will gladly buy my go-to friend.
Yes, I'm just, but yeah. So they're like, if you have a social animal, and I gotta say, like, we're actually we recently acquired kittens. That's another thing that's happened in the last couple weeks. I mean, I think probably had a show since then.
Yeah, we had a show all about cats.
Oh yeah, we did. But anyhow, those kittens, I'm glad we got 2 because. Sometimes when they're in like a fighty-bitey mood, they go fight and bite each other.
Exactly.
Instead of me.
Exactly. Yes, it's recommended. 2 kittens are better than 1. I do have only 1 cat, but like we work from home.
Yeah.
So we're her other cats.
Right.
And she doesn't know the difference. Like, she's fine with it.
Yeah.
But if we had to like leave which we did with our first cat, and I just didn't know enough. If we're leaving all day for work, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
Now. Like,
the cat would be like, despondent.
Well, she did. Yeah. Well, she wasn't despondent, but she definitely had an attitude because we left her home alone all day.
Oh, is she bite you as soon as you came in the door or something?
Yeah. I mean, you met Piglet.
Yeah. She's a little feisty.
She had her own personality. Anyway, so we were off for 3 weeks, partially. Well, one was a holiday, so we didn't do a show that day. Right. But the other weeks that we were off was because Matt and I were doing household projects.
Sure. Yeah.
And we totally finished our kitchen cabinets. They're done. They're painted. They're installed. We refinished a liquor cabinet. We painted it. We didn't refinish it. We put in, a new door lock and all kinds of cool stuff. But we got new lamps. So we've been busy.
Yeah. I saw your new lamps. Those are nice.
They're nice. I like them. So that was our.
They really tie the room together.
Oh! My sister has. Welcome, sister. Apparently. Here you can read all about it.
About transporting the world's largest shark.
Absolutely. So
cool.
After the show, check the comments.
I will. But I'm very interested in it. I would read 7 articles about transporting whale sharks because it's just it's a crazy thing.
So I know the reason my sister's watching is because she, like me, also loves Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
So we will get to that momentarily. But in the meantime, what are you drinking?
Oh, right now I'm finishing. I was trying to remember what the name of it was.
It's like a Rind Over Matter.
Rind Over Matter by New Belgium, and it's very good. It's a wheat.
Wasn't that Bell's?
Sorry, Bell. Sorry, it's by Bell's.
I don't know what I'm drinking.
Hey, listen. On this show, we never get drunk.
Never?
No, never.
Never ever?
Hardly ever. Anyhow.
Oh, also apparently they use UPS, so thank you.
They ship them in a box?
Yes. And they're always late. The box is damaged.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, my shark is dead."
Damn it! But also,
this shark was $250,000.
You have to put in like
You got to put the insurance on that thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like when the box is damaged, you have to take it up with UPS or USPS or UPS. So you gotta go through the whole process.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with your box?
It's pinched and water leaked out.
Yeah.
Fairly certain shark is dead.
What is the reason for your return? Shark is dead. All right. Well, and then after that, you've got what is this? A True Light?
A True Light, which is
that's a big old beer, right?
It is. So the only place I can find it only sells it in a 22, which is fine. I mean, but it's my favorite light beer right now.
It's out of Wilmington, right?
Out of Wilmington, yeah.
And it's super light. Like it's 3-something%.
It really is. Does it say on it?
4.2.
No, it's 4.2, but it's very low in carbs, and it tastes good too. That's the thing. I'm like, like it's funny because we had the light beer episode, and I couldn't find a whole lot of light beers prior to the episode. And since then,
now they're everywhere.
Like, my world exploded, and I found a lot of them, and I'm like,
To that end, I'm about to crack this open for the first time. It's a Low and Hazy by Appalachian Mountain, and it is a 4.1%. And Matt just picked this up at the store, and I've not had it, so I'm going to try it right now.
Sweet.
But then after that, I've got which we've had on the show before, the Lower Falls, which is one of my favorites.
Sorry, I go back to this Rind Over Matter. I can't recommend it enough. It's a wheat beer with orange and lemon zest. It's got a very sort of tangy back end. Reminds me a lot of Lemon Space Dog a little bit.
Oh yeah, but Asheville Brewing.
Yeah, but slightly more. I'd say slightly more tangy. Also, I guess kind of reminds me a little bit of the lemon ginger zombie, but without the ginger part. So
from Catawba Brewing.
Right. Anyway, I generally like things that are citrusy. So this is my jam. I like it.
Right. Well, yeah. I'm about to see. I poured it a little heavy, so I'm gonna give it a second. But all right, so that brings us to the topic of the show,
right?
Which was timely because, Bill also knows this is a subject near and dear to my heart, but you also went to see a Broadway show.
I did.
Last week, and then the Tony Awards were this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to watch that last night. So why don't you kick us off with a bit of a monologue?
Okay, so like I usually do, I just talk about my history with the thing. I was in second. What grade was I in? No, I was in. It was fifth grade. I guess my second grade play was a musical. Also,
Second, we didn't do elementary school plays.
Oh, gosh.
Just gonna tell you that.
I was in a Thanksgiving musical in second grade, which I could sing you a bit of, but I won't because that one because it's problematic in retrospect. It's about the Native Americans, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I was in one in fifth or sixth grade. I want to say sixth grade, maybe. Yeah, sixth grade. I was in one. It was about American history, like the entirety of American history up to pre-Vietnam, I guess. Like it didn't really go into the bad things, you know.
Well, it also apparently didn't go into the bad things because all of American history from the start to the Vietnam War is bad things.
Well, yeah, no, it didn't go into the bad things at all. It was probably written in '76, I want to say. You know, it was one of those
like for the bicentennial.
Yeah, that's what I feel
and like, yay, America!
Here's the thing,
pretend we didn't enslave people,
right? But here's the thing about it is, so I committed to memory these songs for this musical, and I'm the kind of person where if I've committed something to memory, now it's up here forever, rattling around in my damn head, and so I know an entire musical about American history that I am the only person walking around who knows this. I can still sing you every number from it, and the aggravating thing about that is, it's not like knowing all the words to Fiddler on the Roof, where I could find a fellow person who might enjoy that and riff with me.
Right?
No, I just know this bullshit that I can sing. I alone can sing it. I've even mentioned it to friends I went to grade school with, and they're like, "No, I don't remember any of that shit." Yeah. So I'm like,
because they didn't commit it to memory.
No, they don't have the kind of memory I do.
Or don't remember at the ripe old age of 48.
Like, so I'm gonna walk around forever, you know, with Connecticut. Are you for independence? Are you for the pursuit of happiness? For life and liberty and freedom? Connecticut votes yes.
Oh, I am so pleased.
Oh my God. So that shit, you know.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's my earliest, you know, musical theater interactions. And then, shoot, I mean, you know, at some point, I guess during my formative years, I was in chorus also, and we had to learn most of the songs from Grease in chorus.
Sure. Yeah, and chorus, like in our day, chorus was the equivalent to like a show choir, like a Glee level show choir.
It was a Glee club, essentially. Yes, exactly. And so we did a whole bit where we did like 4 or 5 songs from Grease. And then we learned some songs from some of the Rodgers and Hammerstein stuff, you know, I want to say Oklahoma and Carousel and a couple other things, you know.
Sure.
So, you know, that.
All the classics.
That stuff. So that's where my, like, you know, and then I remember, so I went, when I first moved to Chicago to go to art school, I was trying to just kind of culturally broaden my horizons, like do some things. I'm in a big city, but, you know, I should do some things that I wasn't allowed to do when I lived in a small town, right?
Right.
So I lived right around the corner. I mean, literally, like the dorm I was in, there was a huge theater the next block down. Okay.
Nice. Yeah. And Chicago level theaters.
Yeah.
Like they get, you know,
they get big shows,
big
right?
Broadway touring productions.
Miss Saigon was playing there, and I bought tickets, and I bought the matinee because I couldn't afford a good show, you know. So I bought like the Wednesday afternoon show, and I went to my art teacher who I had a class when the show was going, and I went to my teacher and I was like, hey, listen, I got tickets to Miss Saigon.
This is culture. Let me go do it.
No, she was cool. She was like, yeah, go do that. You know, like, yeah, have a good time. But anyway, so I ditched class to go to this thing. And, you know, I guess at the time I was probably moderately impressed with the production of the whole thing. Right.
Sure.
I remember that. I think on the way out, I even bought like the double CD or whatever,
I did too.
Which was 24. No, goddamn, it was probably $30 or something.
Oh yeah, no, I had the double CD, but I went to see it when I was in high school, and it was a gift. I can't remember, a Christmas or birthday or whatever. It was a gift. So I was given the CD for the holiday, and then, you're going to go see this play with your father.
Okay.
And that is one of the, I didn't have a lot in common with my dad, but one of the things I did is he liked musical theater and opera and shit. So I went to see musicals with him.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cool.
But as it turns out, Miss Saigon is real bad.
It's the worst fucking musical I've ever seen in my life. Like, really? And I was telling Laura before the show, like, here's the thing about Miss Saigon. There is not one memorable damn song in it. There's not, like, every other musical you go see, there's at least one humdinger where you come out of the place going, like, like you're humming that song. And I was saying, like, in the case of, like, Les Mis, there's, like, 8 or 9 songs that are really
pretty much the whole score. Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
It's a really good... But dude, Miss Saigon was probably the worst musical from that period, and it was basically a cash in. It was just it was a total like it's formulaic as hell.
It's Madame Butterfly, so it's a retelling of Madame Butterfly, which is fine. I'm fine with retelling,
but none of the music's good.
But just do it well.
Yeah, right? Like you could, if you'd done it and you'd gotten really wrote some good songs for it. But
it was the same writers as Les Mis, which is hilarious.
I guess they were spin everything on Les Mis, apparently.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll get to this for a second, Deb. I 100% agree. So let's get to that in 1 second.
Cats has got a hummer, though.
No,
it's got a song. It's got a standout single.
But it has yes, it does have that, but it has absolutely zero plot.
Sure.
There is no story.
Okay.
Like, one of my favorite bits from my favorite show, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that I talk about a lot, they did a whole riff on cats.
Oh, yeah.
And she does this whole thing where she's like, it's like that song where he talks about jellicle cats and then proceeds to describe a regular-ass cat. I'm like, wait, what the hell's a jellicle cat? So I actually completely agree. But what I realized after seeing Miss Saigon, and I didn't realize this for years later, was how terrible it was culturally. Like, when it originally opened, I believe on West End, I don't think it was Broadway, but either way, the main Asian character, the male character, which happened to be a pimp, which of course problematic by itself, was played by Jonathan Pryce, who is a terribly white person, and he was in Yellowface.
Right, so he's doing an Andy Rooney from
yes,
from
and that was
Tiffany.
The 90s. People don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I mean, yeah.
So yes, I agree though. Cats, good music, like, Memories is a song you can sing at like a review,
or
wedding, like you can sing that song,
right? Yeah,
but most of it has zero plot.
Oh no, yeah,
I can't,
because they picked like what it was a book of random fucking
poetry
poems by who was that, Dylan Thomas or something?
T.S. Eliot,
right?
Yeah,
and just like okay, we're gonna. It's funny the shit that gets developed. Like I was, and we'll get to this, I guess. Like like I have some ideas for bad concepts. Like these are just like lousy, like the worst concepts for musicals. But I would say Cats is probably one of them because it's like it's a book of poems about different cats that T.S. Eliot probably liked.
Right.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh, we got to tie this together somehow. So they just came up with some bullshit. Like, we're going to have a contest about who's the most...
The cattiest cat.
Yeah, the cattiest.
Who's the most cat? I mean, it's just so bad.
Yeah.
I completely agree. So, yes, there were several, and I think those were all around the same era, like the 80s and 90s, where musicals there was a big cash-in because Broadway was becoming popular again.
Yeah.
And people were cashing in, like the same people who wrote Les Mis, which is an epic masterpiece, was like, I don't know, let's turn Madame Butterfly into a Vietnam War story and make it bad. And that's just what they did. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
All right. So real quick, before we get into too much more, we like to do this station break moment that just because, I don't know, it's habit, I guess. Nobody pays us.
No, not yet. We would love it if they did, but
in this case, we do want to point out, if you're in Saluda, North Carolina, check out the Purple Onion Taqueria, or the Spot, as it were. Tacos and margaritas.
Listen, I still haven't had every taco they have because I haven't had the lamb one yet. And
you don't like shrimps.
Do they have shrimp tacos?
Yes, they do.
Oh, I wouldn't eat that. No, I wouldn't eat that anyway.
Which will be a topic of a future
But
Phil has opinion.
But there's a lamb taco that's kind of basically a euro on a taco shell.
Yeah, Matt had that and he loved it.
Oh, great. I mean, and listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't love it, but so there's the ones I love so much that I can't stop eating them. So I haven't really gotten to like deep dive yet, because I like what I like, and until I get tired of the things I'm eating, I won't move on. But I will say there was a time, like, what was it, not last week, but the week before that, I think I had tacos every day of the week.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway,
yeah, and you know what, the margaritas are great too. I'm not really a huge margarita drinker. I have had so they have a slushy margarita because they have a slushy machine, and it's a blood orange slushy margarita, and then they have 5 or 6 other flavors of margarita. I've had the slushy one a couple times now, even though I'm not a big margarita drinker. I mean, I'll drink one once in a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, eventually I'll check all that out too. But
I did also. I am not usually a margarita drinker, mostly because me and tequila have not a good scene. But yeah, I'll have one once in a while, because that's the thing you don't want to have 9 of. But there was
I wouldn't say that's true of most of the customers.
It's probably true. But what I had when I was there was, Matt had the avocado margarita and he raved about that.
Okay.
And I had the coconut margarita because I was looking, because I'm into tiki, so I was like, what's the tikiest of these?
Sure.
And it was super delicious.
Awesome.
So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and they've got a tamarind one too that comes with like a tamarind candy like stuck in it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw other people with those.
Yeah. The presentation wise, I think the candy is the best presentation part of it because the color of it is sort of like the color of Coca-Cola, which like it's not
right because it's got the
it's not flashy. Right? That's the biggest but the flavor's there. It's just not. It's not a color they really love, but they don't know how to change it.
Right.
Right. But anyway. I would say, come just for drinks too if you want.
Yep.
Like you don't have to order tacos.
I was actually talking to a friend this weekend or last weekend, I don't know, recently, and she does marketing for a major real estate company in town. And I said, well, you should talk to your boss and maybe we could go down to the spot for lunch and then you could write about it. So, I mean, it's one way to get lunch off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd have to take like 2-3 hours off for that. Right?
Absolutely, right?
And and then she has to write about it. So I'm like, come on, let's go do it.
There you go, yeah.
Let's do this thing. All right, so let's get back to musicals. And literally, I don't know where to start because I have listed like a timeline.
Okay, I want to mention that in here, Life is Beautiful. The girls, they are beautiful. Even the orchestra is beautiful.
A little cabaret moment.
Yes.
So I suppose what we should actually do is start with present because you just went to see a musical.
I did.
Weekend.
I went and saw.
What did you go?
Hamilton.
You're like, what did I go see?
I started to say Hamlet, and I was like, "Is there a musical Hamlet?" You know what? There was an episode. There was an episode of Gilligan's Island where there was where some theater producer landed on the island and he produced a musical version of Hamlet.
Also, this is this is absolutely 100% completely unrelated, but how come people kept showing up on the island who could then get home?
Yeah, they left, and they never bothered to take anyone else with them.
Yeah, I would be so pissed. I'm like, I've been on this island for years. Just take me with you.
No, people came and went all the time.
All the time.
But they never, they always left pissed off or something, and they were like, fuck those people. They're just going to stay there.
Exactly. Well, because I think they realized that it's a terrible show where it's just literally the people that were in the original cast.
There's a theory that all the characters represent like the 7 deadly sins or something.
That sounds like one of those theories,
it's a bit of a stretch because there's actually not enough people on the island to make it all work.
Correct. I mean, there's and the rest, but But all right, so unrelated. So you went
which was like 2 more people
It was
in
2
that
more
version
people.
of the song.
I love that, and they're like, "Oh shit, we didn't talk about the other 2 people. Let's just add them in because it literally took no more bars."
Because it was the same number of syllables.
So you went to see Hamilton. We also recently saw Hamilton.
Yeah, you saw it like last month, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you saw it the same day that my stepdaughter she saw it on Broadway.
Oh,
the same
that's
day
right.
you were seeing the traveling version,
That's
which is
right.
probably the same production I saw.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Because you saw it in Charlotte, and I saw it in Greenville.
Yes.
And if you're somewhere else in the Southeast, it'll be where you are eventually.
Yes. And then everywhere else at some point. So go see it. I think
I don't know what the true
my
schedule
sister,
is.
who tuned in on purpose to watch us rant about musicals, I think has seen it like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah?
So
I would see it again. It was pretty good. I it's funny because it wasn't a person I knew a whole lot about. I mean, I knew he was on the $10 bill. I knew he had been the Secretary of Treasury. I knew he was from the islands, and I knew he had been shot dead. And that's about what I knew about him.
I think that's what most people
folks
knew
know about him.
But for some reason, Lin-Manuel Miranda read this biography and was like, you know what this would make? A great musical.
A lot of things probably would, though. Truth be told,
A
right?
great hip-hop musical. And
I mean, it'd be better than here's a bunch of poems about cats.
clearly true, because it is. I mean, Cats won Tonys in its day too, but man, yeah, no. Hamilton, though, I think is a masterpiece, and I think most people agree with that. Like, it's so good, and So one thing I will say, and you probably did see the same cast. I don't know if you saw all the same performers because there might be swings or understudies.
I think there was an understudy switch. Like I think the guy who's playing Hamilton was a switch for the evening because there was a little slip in my book that said this evening, whatever. But
but so we saw it. So Hamilton I had listened to it. I saw the filmed version on Disney with the original cast.
See, I went into this blind.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't like to see a thing before I see it in the theater.
I don't usually, but with musicals it's different because it's I don't know. It's an experience.
Okay.
So I like to know what it is.
I know some people want to know the songs going into it, but I'm kind of like I want to absorb the whole thing as a whole.
And sometimes it's by accident too. Like oh yeah. Oh, nice. So 3 times in the theater and 8 times on Disney Plus. Unsurprised. But sometimes you can't avoid it either.
Oh.
Like you could, but everybody's talking about it and just
no. I mean, there were things I knew about it going in, obviously, because Hamilton was probably the biggest phenom of a musical since Les Mis, really, right?
There was give or take.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I just don't remember anybody making a big deal about a musical.
I'm looking to see where. I guess technically, Rent, because Les Mis would have come out in the late '80s, and then Rent came out in the early '90s. So, but they're it's apples to oranges,
right?
Because they're 2 very different kinds of musicals.
Right.
We'll get into,
but
maybe
you know what I'm saying. Just
I hear you.
Anybody, as far as a bunch of chatter about something, like musicals aren't usually the kind of thing you hear a lot of chatter about.
Right. And it did kind of breathe new life into Broadway because suddenly people were like, "What? What?"
And I mean, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, also because that dude's become a commodity now. I mean, I don't know how much of you watch, but at my house, my grandkids live with me. And all that Disney shit that comes out.
Oh yeah,
and he scores every other thing that comes out anymore. And I always know it when I hear it because he's got a certain he does. He's got a style, and so you're watching a thing and you're always like, "This is Lin-Manuel Miranda, isn't it?"
No, absolutely, that's absolutely true, and you are 100% correct.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, between the Broadway version and the version we saw. So I think in the Broadway version is, yes, I agree with this. Study the music so I can follow the show. I agree with that. And also he's a musical genius, which I completely agree with. But so between the Broadway version and the breakout star, the Broadway version of Hamilton was not Lin-Manuel Miranda. It was Leslie Odom Jr. who played Aaron Burr, and he won Tonys, and I think he was a breakout star, and we saw how amazingly talented he was. So when we saw it live, our Aaron Burr was good, but I wanted him to be better, and that wasn't his fault.
And that's partly the reason why I probably don't pre-study, because it can do that. It can predispose you to a thing. You'll compare it then, right?
Absolutely. And I recognize that was a me problem, not a him problem.
Yeah, because so I'll say, like, the first time I saw Hedwig, this was prior to the movie coming out. And I saw a small performance in Columbia, South Carolina. I fucking fell in love with it immediately. I loved it. Yeah, I went and bought the Broadway soundtrack the next day. Okay, that's how much I liked it. But I'll say this: ever since the movie came out, they had the original Broadway cast, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
Who was also the writer and creator of the whole thing.
Right.
Ever since that came out, every performance I've seen since then is based on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's less interpretation.
Sure.
And that bothers me a little bit. Like, I mean, because I'm aware of how great, what's his name? Something Cameron Mitchell. Can't remember his first name. Anyway.
Is it James Cameron Mitchell?
Maybe. Probably James Cameron Mitchell. Anyway, I'm aware of how great he is and how wonderful that version was, but at the same time, I still kind of want people to, like, put their self in it a little bit.
Right.
So, and I feel like every like I said, I've seen it 3 or 4 times live now, and I've seen the movie. To, like what Deb was saying, I've seen the movie probably 20 times. I went and saw the movie of Hedwig 3 or 4 times in the theater.
Nice.
Like, that's how much I loved it. I saw it as long as it was in the theater. I'd go see it over and over again, and then it was out. But it, like, how long does a theatrical release of a musical?
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
It was like 2 weeks. I went and saw it 4 or 5 times in 2 weeks, and then it was out. But I loved it, and I've seen it a couple times, obviously several times on streaming or whatever since then. But
sure.
But I've seen it live a few times. I've never seen it on Broadway, sadly. I really, 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 really wanted to see Neil Patrick Harris when he was doing it, but I couldn't get tickets. I was actually we went to New York, and I couldn't get tickets to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I imagine that was good, and it probably what you were looking for. Like a.
Oh yeah, he probably brought a little of himself to it, and just didn't just
absolutely
remotely do like the movie. But all the small productions of it I've ever seen since the movie came out were very tainted by the fact that the movie had come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could tell they were verbatim the fucking movie, because there's a little bit of ad-libbing that goes on.
Sure.
In Hedwig, I noticed, like, he left some room for ad-libbing between songs and stuff, and the way that the story goes. And all the ones since the movie were, it was very like. So anyway, it's just a critique. I don't know. So I don't like to compare things, and that's why I like to go into a movie, into a musical blind. I guess because it lets me develop my opinion without comparison.
So I did know Hamilton before I went in, but I will tell you, and now I have a very sensitive cry reflex, but I will tell you. The moment the Alexander Hamilton walked on stage and his first line is, "My name is Alexander Hamilton," I started fucking crying.
Really?
Like, there was just, I'm like, from that moment on.
I didn't cry until his son died in a duel. Spoiler alert. I mean,
at this point,
it's been out for what, a decade?
Little less, but close. Yeah.
I mean, but if you're like me, you haven't seen it yet. I guess.
Also, by the way, it's a historical. Like, it's hard to have spoilers.
I guess you could have read it. You could have just read a history book. Read a biography of Hamilton, and But I lost it. I lost it when his son died. That was the part that tore me up.
That's a moment, and then the song after that.
Yeah.
Oh god, that whole part.
Oh yeah, the song, like they're going through some shit or whatever it
was. That's the song. It's titled "We're Going Through Some Shit." Literally that. So
yeah. It might have been that. It might not have been when the son died, but it was definitely the reaction to the son dying, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. The song is "Quiet Uptown," and that song just.
Yes, that's when I lost it. I was just like, okay.
That's it. No, I cried through the whole thing. I started, just the tears started rolling when, I'm like, nothing's scenes even happen. He walked out on stage and said, "My name is Alexander Hamilton." And why am
No,
I
I know. I
crying?
noticed that's when people go wild. So that's more of like it's the Beatles crying, whereas the other one was
Yeah, like I just knew.
like
Also,
an emotional reaction.
by the way, if this wasn't as bad at my show, but I had a friend report who went to see it like the next day in Charlotte. Apparently, a lot of people in the theater were treating it like it was a sing-along. And I'm not okay with that.
Oh, wow.
Like, I love the music. I know the music. I love it. I was lip-syncing to a few songs, to be fair. But don't sing out loud, folks.
I don't care if I'm at a fucking James Taylor concert. I paid to see James Taylor, not to hear you sing all the songs of James Taylor.
Unless he points the microphone out from the stage.
Sure.
And wants you to sing something.
Sure, yeah, but other than that, like I did not pay whatever it was to hear, Becky from Two Towns Over come sing this whole musical to me.
Right, exactly. But yeah, a friend of mine saw it the next day and said that was a big problem.
Oh gosh,
I was guilty of, and I saw a lot of people around me lip syncing. But that's okay. Like whatever.
If I didn't look at you, I wouldn't know you were lip syncing.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't have looked at you because I was looking at the stage.
Because I was looking at the stage. You shouldn't be looking at me. You should be looking at the stage.
But yeah, you're not interrupting anybody by lip syncing. But yeah, keep it down. Keep it down.
Keep it down. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's just disrespectful to the artist, right? Like,
yeah, if you want to sing a musical out loud in front of people, try out.
Try out. If you want to sing it out loud, not in front of people, sing it in your car.
Sure. Yeah.
Sing it at home while you're doing the dishes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do all those things.
Yeah, but if you want to do it in front of an audience, then go try out when your local theater puts on a performance of it. Go audition. See, maybe they'll like you. Maybe they won't.
Or maybe they won't.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, where should we go from here? Oh, so since we're talking about modern musicals, I'm wearing a T-shirt. Wait for it. Wait for me. Actually, I said wait for it. Wait for it is actually a song from Hamilton.
Right.
This is Wait for Me, which is a song from Hadestown. So in December, Matt and I went to New York to see Hadestown on Broadway after it came back after COVID.
Right.
Turns out we made it just in the window because
like a week later,
shit was shut down again. But I will say we were super lucky, and this would never happen unless there was a global pandemic. But, usually performers will, a year or so run and then they'll, move on and you'll cycle in other performers. We saw the entire original cast from 3 years before.
Oh, because they haven't had time to move on yet.
Well, because they were shut down for a year and a half. They couldn't do anything, so they all came back. And it was amazing. So I will say, if you've got the go see Broadway shows bug.
Hey, if you're writing a new musical, COVID, there's not been a musical about COVID yet.
Not yet. Although,
so that's a new thing.
I mean, but that is a thing. Like Rent, right? Rent was the AIDS crisis.
Yeah, exactly. So
it came out in the 90s, which was still in the AIDS crisis.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, like, there's a new thing you could write about. You could write about, you could write about the early 2000s, the early 2020s easily, because there's a whole bunch of shit going on that would make a good goddamn, like, there's, better than Cats, I'll say.
I liked it. It was
better than Cats. I'd see it again and again.
I'd see it again and again. I think that skit, oh my God, I don't know why I thought, everybody did, right? Like, I still think of that. Anytime something comes up where you're like, I liked it, I'm like, it was better than Cats.
Yeah.
I'll see it again and again. I literally think about that skit every day of my entire life.
For folks who don't know, that's a 80s SNL skit. And it was about a hypnotist, wasn't it? It was a off-Broadway hypnotist.
Yes.
And everybody who came out of his show said the same thing. I liked it. It was better than Cats. I'd see it again.
But they would get that, like,
they had this glassy look,
glazed look.
and they would say it very monotonously, like, I liked it. It was better than Cats. I'd see it again and again.
Like, honestly, until you reminded me what the plot was, I couldn't have told you. But I knew that I liked it better than Cats, and I would see it again and again. And I'll say that anytime I see something that I liked, I'm like, I liked it. It was better than Cats. I'd see it again and again. Literally all the time. All
Yeah.
right, so yes, check out Hadestown when it comes next.
I will catch it when it's either touring or when I'm in New York, whichever happens first.
It's worth it. So the reason I liked Hades. So here's a fun fact, and we can segue into something after this.
Mhm.
But Hadestown. So Anais Mitchell, who wrote it, is a folk artist. She does folk music, that's
Okay.
like Americana style music. And in 2010, I believe, she released a concept album. She called it a folk opera called Hadestown.
Mhm.
And it was her mostly, and the lead singer of Bon Iver,
Bon Iver, I believe they
Iver.
pronounce. That's the way
That
the guy
guy.
on NPR says it.
Yes, and also in it was Ani DeFranco,
Okay.
and it's the story of Orpheus and Eurydice and Hades and Persephone, but set in like a Depression era dystopia. And because I love Greek mythology,
Sure, yeah.
I bought this concept album way back in 2010, and I freaking loved it. I wore it out.
They had you in Greek mythology.
They had me at Greek mythology, and it's masterful. It's a beautiful story. So fast forward to like 2018 or 1918, I was watching the Tonys. I just turned it on because I could, and I was like, "What? Hadestown? Holy shit! That's that folk opera I've been listening to for years." And I had no idea that it had been turned into a musical.
Okay.
And it's still like they've expanded the story because a folk opera, like it's an album long,
Right.
which is not, a show intermission end of show. Like it's not enough time, right?
I got you. Yeah.
But so they expanded the
You
story.
say it was like 45 minutes, and then they had to
they had to expand it. And I do think. But one of the things, like when I first heard the Broadway cast recording, I was like, "This is good," but I'm used to this original version,
heard,
right?
Yeah.
So that's why one of the reasons I wanted to see it, because Broadway is meant to be seen.
Sure. Yeah.
So once I saw it, I was like, "Yep,
That's what I was saying. Like that's why I can't buy like the album and listen to it 7 times and then go see the musical, because like, to me, the album only works after you know what's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure,
it's more of a memory recall thing for me, and so it's like I already liked it. Now I can listen to it, and
yeah, no, absolutely, and I feel you. But I also get like Deb's approach where she just wants to know the story so she can follow along. I get that too. So there's but with Hadestown,
I'm not saying there's a right and a wrong way.
No.
I'm just saying this is what works for me.
Sure. But with Hadestown, I didn't have a choice. I didn't know that it was going to be a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
Like, I already knew the story because...
Yeah, you just bought a thing that you thought was a thing, and then it turns out it was a bigger thing.
Yeah, it was a bigger thing a decade later.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we got to see it. It was amazing. But to that end, what was to that end? I had a to that end. Oh, rock operas. Operas. That was a big trend, especially like in the 70s, where writers like Andrew Lloyd Webber. I always want to call him like Frank Lloyd Webber or
Frank Lloyd Writer, because he's writing these musicals.
Exactly. Andrew Lloyd Webber. He wrote like Jesus Christ Superstar.
Sure.
Was written as an album first. It wasn't a production.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of...
Well, and this goes back even to like, the Who's Tommy was probably like a precursor to this kind of, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I actually don't know when they came out comparatively.
And would you consider Pink Floyd's The Wall a rock opera?
I would consider I would consider it a concept album.
Oh, it's totally a concept album. I mean, because it's an album that tells a story.
Right.
And I don't feel like any of the songs really work out of the context of the story.
Correct. Yeah.
Like whenever they play a single song from The Wall or Tommy on the radio, I always feel kind of like,
this doesn't make sense unless it's in the story.
Yes, it's part of a story, and you're playing one song like it's a fucking single, but it's not really. Like, and speaking of, I mean, Tommy's one of my favorites. Also.
I actually love Tommy. I love Tommy. It was probably one of the first musicals I ever heard and didn't realize it was a musical.
Right. Same. Well, I mean, I heard the singles from it first, but then I eventually was, I don't know, 19 or 20 when I bought the album, and I just listened to it I listened to that like 5 or 6 times in a row, and that's one of those ones where I actually, if a local theater was ever putting on a version of Tommy, I would try out for it, and I'd be happy with whatever fucking part I got. But
I will be the pinball wizard. I will be Tommy.
I don't give a shit.
I'll be whoever you want me to be.
I don't give a shit. But you know what? The song I'm gonna use for my audition is the first song in the musical.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 21 is gonna be a good year?
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's only in it until he's dead.
Right? Yeah, but it's a great song. Like,
yeah.
That's a good song. It's interesting because they changed it from the musical to the movie, or from the concept album to the movie.
Uh-huh.
They changed it to be more, I guess, updated. Right?
Oh, right, because it wasn't about the World War I.
It wasn't about World War I anymore.
It was about World War II, right?
Yeah,
because they were trying, because they wanted to modernize it or whatever.
Right. But geez, it's already here. All right, we got 15 minutes until Bill has.
Sorry,
It's already here.
Let's look at all the things we got to talk about.
Oh, there's too many. We can't get to them.
Oh my God!
But to mention, I did want to Jesus Christ Superstar, amazing album, amazing production.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out when you can. What else do we want to talk about? I do want to talk about jukebox musicals.
What the hell does that mean?
So that's a musical where they take
pre-existing songs. Those are the ones I was complaining about.
Yeah. Pre-existing songs and turn them into
the
a story.
The worst musicals, in my opinion. Yeah, they take somebody's back catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's all the songs of Billy Joel,
which I have seen that production.
And wait, first off, Billy Joel's got 3 or 4 good songs. The rest of it's shit. Like that shit really. Billy Joel does not hold up. He doesn't hold up to like 200 listens. Like. When you've heard Scenes from an Italian Restaurant for the 200th time, you've heard it too many times. You're like, fuck that shit. I don't want to hear it anymore.
The opinions of Bill are not the opinions of everyone else. No, I'm actually not that huge a Billy Joel fan. I'm okay. Like, I appreciate Billy Joel, but
then it's basically like you're just taking somebody's musical catalog and you're cramming it and you're trying to come up with some bullshit plot to run through. And listen, I'm not of the opinion that there aren't artists for whom it might work. For instance, if somebody would make a They Might Be Giants musical, first off, they have a catalog of like 600 songs.
Right.
I think you could pick 20 of them to make a thematic thing out of.
Sure.
In my mind, the They Might Be Giants musical is about spies. It's like an Austin Powers.
You should write
type
that
thing.
You should totally write that.
Mr. Claw is the villain, and the movie, the name of the thing is The World's Address. It's called The World's Address, the They Might Be Giants musical, and it's like an Austin Powers movie, basically set to music is what it is. But
well, on the Tonys last night, so one of the big award winners was MJ the musical, which is a Michael Jackson jukebox musical. It tells the story of Michael Jackson. I do not know if they get into any of the Michael Jackson weirdness. But the truth is, Michael Jackson, problematic though he may be, had amazing music.
I mean, people liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, although I'll say this, Michael Jackson music, it's funny that he sort of never grew up.
Well, yeah, for a lot of reasons,
yeah.
Mostly tying back to childhood abuse, but
right, sure, yeah. I definitely, I mean, that guy's probably, he's problematic, but at the same time, you do feel sorry for him.
Correct,
also.
yeah, he's
a tragic character.
He was not in a vacuum. Like
No.
He didn't just do bad things. He did bad things because bad things were done to him.
Right. So yeah, but I feel like to an extent, Michael Jackson was sort of a child in a man's body,
right,
and to that extent, his music appealed to I loved Michael Jackson when I was 8 years old. And then I got to a point, I remember at some point where I was grown up and I was like, this shit does not do it for me anymore. And then it's funny because then I watched my own children like go through the phase where they thought everything Michael Jackson did was awesome. And I was like, wow, like he really just fucking wrote music for children.
Music.
Yeah, he wrote children's music. Like he was the goddamn Wiggles, basically. Except for he wasn't marketed that way, but he was. And then on the other hand, he also liked children.
Yeah, he was like the Wiggles from the Mirror
the
universe.
The Dark Wiggles.
But so one of the jukebox musicals that won awards a couple of years ago that I was baffled by, and I don't know that I would bother seeing it. Maybe I would if I had free tickets. Was Jagged Little Pill. So it's right. It's Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Apparently the entire Jagged Little Pill album, which while it has some narrative, doesn't have that.
It would
much of
only
a
be
narrative
worth a shit if they cast Dave Coulier
as himself. But instead, it looked like they took all the songs from Jagged Little Pill and just like forced a story into it.
That's bullshit.
That has nothing to
That's
do
absolute.
with any.
And the other one I complain about is Mamma Mia. That's another one of those where I'm just like, yeah.
Right, we force these
Listen,
songs.
I like the songs of ABBA. You know when I like them? When ABBA sings them.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to hear some bullshit Broadway version of ABBA.
Now that's saying there are some jukebox musicals I do like. In my number one example, which started as a movie and is now a Broadway musical, started as a movie a long time ago and is now a Broadway musical, is Moulin Rouge. So Moulin Rouge was
okay. I did like the movie. I didn't know they made a musical.
They
out
did
of it.
fairly recently. It won a couple Oscars last year, or Tonys last year. But it is because I think that was taking a bunch of anachronistic music and plugging it into a story. And I thought it was masterfully done. Like, it was a beautiful movie, and it was like the way they used the music was good.
Yeah.
And they have not seen the stage version. I don't know that I would purposefully say. That's another thing where if I got tickets, I'd go.
Okay.
But
the only jukebox musical I sort of liked was Forever Plaid.
Okay.
Which was not somebody's entire back catalog, but it was a bunch of songs from the late 40s, early 50s.
Sure.
That were meshed into a musical. And it was about this like a doo-wop band that had wrecked the bus or something and died, and now they were like sort of like in purgatory, and they had to perform over and over again or something.
Right.
I don't remember exactly.
So at least it gave it a funny story.
It was a funny story, and they were songs that I enjoy. I do like I have kind of a sweet spot for doo-wop. I don't know why, but I really do I like doo-wop, and the production of it I just fucking loved, so I'll give you that one.
And yeah, MJ, they do create a story out of it. So, it is about the Dangerous World Tour and his process for it. So I actually think, I didn't want to see it until I was watching the Tonys yesterday. And I was like, this looks really good. It looks like it might be really good.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, he's not going to make any money off of it.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, and to be honest, it kind of does. Although his kids will, but they probably, that's not their fault.
It's not their fault who their dad was. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't hate his children. No, and I don't really 100% hate him because, like I said, I feel like he's a complicated person.
He was definitely a victim. But that's a different show.
People.
Yeah, that's a different show altogether.
We already had that show. Actually, it was called Liking Things
Problematic.
Yes,
absolutely,
like that,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But so yeah, as far as there are a couple of I have not seen them, but there was a Tina Turner.
Oh yeah. What's love got to do with it?
And I get that because you take her songs and you tell her story.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. The same is true with Ain't Too Proud. There's a Temptations musical. But again, it tells the Temptations story through their songs. But it's just performed, I guess in that case...
Dreamgirls is kind of loosely one of those, right?
Yeah, but they're all original.
They're new songs.
It's original.
They're new songs, but it's kind of sort of about the Supremes, but not. Yeah. Right?
But it's original, so that makes it different.
It does make it different, right?
They didn't take Supreme songs and tell the Supreme story.
It's just I guess generic girl group, right? Could be the Supremes, could be Martha and the Vandellas, could be.
But it's mostly that and the Temptations musical, right? Those were from Motown,
right?
And we all know where that's from, right?
Where is that?
I actually was not sure where I'd be able to fit that into the show, but we just walked right into it.
Kudos to you.
Walked right into it.
Does Oklahoma count as the Midwest?
No, it does not.
That's the Southwest.
That's Texas.
That's basically Texas.
That's
North Texas.
It's North Texas. All right, there are literally thousands of things we can talk about, but frankly, I want to go eat pizza.
Okay, fair enough.
So
I just want to bring this up before we close out. It's amazing to me that a fellow in Spanish Harlem shouted Maria, and only one woman stuck her head out of the window.
That's true. That's fair. Maria is a common name. Yeah.
like 12 of them. Like, what?
Right. So, but yes, also that. But that's because we talked about like Miss Saigon was a retelling of Madame Butterfly.
Sure.
And Rent was a retelling of La Boheme.
Sure.
And West Side Story was a retelling of Romeo and Juliet.
Right.
Like, I'm totally okay with retellings. You just have to do a good job.
You have to do a thing. Yeah.
You can't just Miss Saigon that shit. Like, you got to do a good job.
You got to do a decent version. I again, like the Hamlet musical from Gilligan's Island would probably work with the right songs.
Also, frankly, if there's a Hamlet musical, sign me up. Like, I want to go see that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be awesome.
As I recall, this is the bad part about I was talking to harken back to my stupid memory. I actually remember a song from the Gilligan's Island episode, but they do a song called "To Be or Not to Be," but it's to the tune of a song from Carmen. So it's like, I asked to be or not to be.
So that's been in your head since you were a child.
Since I saw that episode as a child. And I actually, the first time I ever heard the song from Carmen, I remember I was in the car with my grandfather.
Right, exactly.
And I said, is this from Hamlet?
Exactly.
And he was like, what? Because he didn't realize that my reference to it was an episode of Gilligan's Island where a dude was doing a musical version of Hamlet.
Well, there's a meme, like how did you learn classical music? And like
it's
the Bugs Bunny,
a rabbit and drag.
Yeah. So, but it's true though. So, here we go. Yes, Jay. I'd rather Macbeth musical. Out Damn Spot would make a great song. I agree. We should all work on that.
We should get together and write the Macbeth musical. We should write the
Macbeth musical, or the Hamlet musical, or like a.
Well, I'm already working on a different version of Hamlet. It's not a musical. It's called Crisis on Planet X.
Oh, Did
I tell you about that?
I don't remember which episode it is, but we can go back and find it.
Yes. So it's a sci-fi based on Hamlet is what it is. And so let's do Macbeth because that would be better.
Right.
But yeah, but see, here's the great thing is because all Shakespeare is public domain,
right?
So I can do whatever the fuck I want with it.
Absolutely.
And feel free to submit in our comments this week. Feel free to submit your favorite thing that's in public domain. It would make a great musical.
Yeah, we will.
Because like if we can develop that shit, we could all be making bank.
We could win a Tony Award. All right. So we don't have a mailbag. We don't have things that are extra. Whatever. We want to go eat pizza.
Yeah, we're just hungry.
But we will be back next week. And the show, I know what the show is about.
You do?
Seafood. And I know you have.
You're talking about when you put food in your mouth and chew it up and then go.
Yes, exactly. That's precisely what it is. But I know you have opinions about it.
I totally do.
So I would like to point out that I had 2 pages of outline.
She did. We didn't.
We got to.
Listen. We talked about the modern stuff. We didn't even get to go back to Rodgers and Hammerstein and Gilbert and
Sullivan. Yeah, we'll have to have like a golden age of Broadway show.
We made some allusions to it. I hope that was good enough for you.
I don't know. We can come back to it all.
Yeah,
we can do musicals again.
We can every show we do. We could probably do a sequel.
We always say we'll come back to that eventually, and then we never do because I forgot which ones we said we would go back to.
Well, I mean, if it's important to you, bring it up in the comments. I suppose.
All right, folks, we're gonna go eat a pizza.
Yeah,
and we will see you next week. And take us away.
Yeah, Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone. Unless Laura agreed with them, in which case then they share that opinion, and vice versa. And they definitely don't have anything to do with our sponsor who doesn't pay us a dime. But if you want to pay us a dime, feel free to reach out. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and leave us comments. We appreciate everybody who commented tonight on tonight's show. We love the dialogue and the feedback, and reach out to us. Tune in again next week when we'll have that new exciting episode about seafood. We'll
talk about shrimps,
crabs,
talk about crabs,
fish.
We'll talk about lobster,
scallop.
Yeah, just anything that comes from the ocean,
shrimp sandwich,
or a lake.
Shrimp stew, shrimp gumbo,
fried shrimp, grilled shrimp. So we'll talk about all the shrimps. We could probably actually just have a shrimp episode, although I know your opinion on shrimp, which we'll save till next week.
Yes.
All right, folks, we will see you all very soon. Bye. See you next week.